What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and today we get you ready for the Week 5 matchup against Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys as the Jets look to get their first win of the season. Maybe if they can clean up the mistakes, the turnovers and penalties, we can really see what this team can do. The only issue is it is not going to be the full team. The Jets are continuously banged up as they head into week 5 against the Dallas Cowboys. They are still dealing with a ton of injuries to some key players, and that is where we start. We start obviously with Braylon Allen. That knee injury, it's an MCL. He's expected to go on IR. So that means he's going to miss, it looks like, the next 4 games at least, further compromising what the Jets are supposed to do well, right? Which is their run game. Without Braylon Allen, obviously there's still Breece Hall. Obviously there's still Davis. Obviously there's Justin Fields, who still crushed it with that 40-some-odd yard touchdown run last week against Miami. But Braylon Allen is a key piece to be gone. Michael Carter is also looks like going to miss this one. He is still in the concussion protocol. Jermaine Johnson still didn't practice earlier in the week, but they are hoping that he can return. That would be a big one. And then I keep on not trying to understate this one. Another huge one for me is Keenan Wanu, who is our kick returner, right? Think about it. Against Pittsburgh, Xavier Gibson fumble changes the game. Think about it. Against Miami, Williams fumbles the second half kickoff, helps to change the game, add to that turnover problem that we had. We have Keenan Wanu because he is one of the better kick returners in the NFL, and you have seen with the change of the kickoff rules, the kick return game is really a big deal. I cannot understate this. Keenan Wanu, not as a running back, okay, because he's lower on the depth chart, but as the kick returner is someone we need to get back. We'll see what happens. He's still not practicing with that hamstring injury he had back in week 1, so this has now been a month for him. Other Jets to note is that Jarvis Brownlee, we should see him back for making his Jets debut coming off that ankle injury. John Simpson with an elbow. They were practicing. We should see them this week. And remember, our linebacker room is in fact compromised because Quincy is still on IR, McCrary Ball on IR. You add Braylon Allen to that. And, while we're getting healthy in other places, Justin Fields back, Josh Reynolds back, hopefully Jermaine Johnson back, it is still a relatively banged up green and white as we go on to face the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys got their own share of injuries too. Here's what I want to highlight. The Cowboys have 3 offensive linemen who were not practicing earlier in the week, and they're all named Tyler. Tyler Booker, Tyler Guyton, and Tyler Smith all missed some practice. Malik Hooker, their free safety. Miles Sanders also missed practice. And then at the wideout position, we get lucky, okay? CeeDee Lamb is going to miss this one. He's dealing with a high ankle sprain, right? So he's going to miss this one. That's good news. Kevontae Turbin, though, their big-time kickoff returner, their slot receiver, also missed some time in practice. He's dealing with a foot injury. So we'll see if Turbin is up. I think he'll ultimately play, but that leaves George Pickens out there as the number 1 target for Dak Prescott and these Dallas Cowboys on offense. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe Sauce can cover him, mitigate that a little bit, and maybe we can slow down this Dallas pass offense, which, as I said earlier in the week, is really the best in the NFL right now. Dak Prescott is leading the NFL in passing yards. They're top 3 in points per game, in completion percentage. So if no CD, we'll see about Turpin. Let's see if Sauce can cover George Pickens all day long. And remember, with those offensive linemen down, maybe there's some other opportunities we'll get into a little bit later on in the show. With Braylon Allen out, though, this is going to be all Breece Hall. And once again, I'm still seeing the noise. I'm still seeing the buzz on social media. Oh, are the Saints going to trade Alvin Kamara? Are the Jets going to trade Breece Hall? No, we are not, especially if Braylon Allen is going to miss the next 4 games at least on IR, right? Like, I understand that the contract is coming up. You may want to get something, but this is the Jets' identity. The Jets are a run-first team. And quite frankly, Breece Hall has been able to run the ball pretty effectively. I think he's going to be featured against the Cowboys. He had 111 scrimmage yards against Miami, ran for 81 yards, averaged 5.8 yards a carry. He also had 30 yards out of the backfield, 6 yards a catch. He had 19 targets so far this season, okay? Breece Hall out of the backfield has been targeted 19 times. That is fifth most among NFL running backs. Remember, in training camp, they said they were going to use Breece Hall in the passing game, that he was a mismatch. I have been talking here on Jets Latest. And by the way, if you haven't been here for day one, click on the button to join, become a Jets Latest insider. You will get exclusive content. You'll get all sorts of other perks as we go throughout the season. There's been some day oneers since then. They are happy. They comment positively. Hopefully you will too. But all the way back in the summer, I was saying Breece Hall is actually one of the better receiving backs in the NFL. You really should consider him up about around the Christian McCaffrey, Jahmyr Gibbs kind of tier. He has done that for the last few years, and his targets are fifth in the NFL among running backs. So, and that's the other thing. I've been saying this about staying on schedule. That's been my theme all week, right? If they stay on schedule, if they're on 3rd and 4, Breece Hall out of the backfield works for us as a second wide receiver. Same with a guy like Mason Taylor, for goodness sakes, right? But Breece Hall was also talking about it, and so was Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn said, I thought Breece Hall did a hell of a job toting the rock last night. Breece Hall says, I really believe in Coach Glenn and the coaching staff. It's easy for me to wake up and go because I have faith in who is here for us, in the building. So I think Breece can do this. I think he can be that kind of weapon. If we stay on schedule, he will be that kind of weapon, quite frankly, okay? And so I know that there should be some contract stuff, but let's, again, enough with the idea of the trade talk. If there's no Braylon Allen, Breece Hall is going to be featured. Hopefully we are able to run the ball, keep Dak off the field, and continue to punch teams in the mouth like we have been doing. Earlier in the week, I told you, the Jets going into week 5 have the 3rd most productive run game in the entire NFL. I told you I thought they were going to be a top 5 run offense. So far, they are. The problems are the penalties and the turnovers, which kind of get you out of that approach from being able to be all you can do and kind of control and dominate games. Speaking of dominant, another guy I got to hype up. I've been telling you about guys like Austin McNamara and stuff like that who have played well. Another guy is our Pro Bowl, All-Pro, interior defensive lineman, Quinnen Williams. A lot of people are talking about the defense. I'm hearing a lot of stuff about Steve Wilkes. I'm hearing a lot of stuff about how we can't stop anybody. Well, it ain't Quinnen Williams' fault, okay? If you're watching the games, Quinnen Williams is absolutely disrupting everything. He deserves his flowers, and quite frankly, he's being graded out by PFF as such as well. Quinnen Williams is the number 3 ranked interior defensive lineman in the league with an 88.2 overall grade. But the run defense has been otherworldly. His 92.3 run defense grade is 10 points higher than anybody else who's been on the field for enough snaps in the NFL. His 15 run stops, 5 more than anybody else, okay? Quinnen Williams has been a monster on that defensive line, but still overall, the Jets' run defense has pretty much just been average. We're giving up, running yards, 25th in the NFL. We're right in the middle of the pack in terms of yards per carry, yards before contact, explosive runs allowed. So while Quinnen Williams is doing his thing, I think it's important that we get Jermaine Johnson back, because Jermaine Johnson, unlike Will McDonald, was a pass rusher who could also stop the run. Jermaine Johnson has been a big loss for us, so hopefully he can come back. I think that is big. To be honest, Will McDonald they thought was too slight. Remember, he put on weight in the offseason. We were talking about that. But this is the reason Michael Clemens is still on the field, because they think Will McDonald is not good against the run. If we get Jermaine Johnson back, however, that can be good against the run. Quinnen Williams has been phenomenal against the run. The loss of his brother Quincy doesn't help. But if you remember also, we made 2 additions towards the very end of training camp. We traded for Harrison Phillips, and we traded for Juwan Briggs. And I just want to give you an update there. I mean, Harrison Phillips has been kind of average. All right. He ranks 67th among interior defensive linemen in run defense snaps. But has been on the field for 64 run defense snaps. Juwan Briggs, however, has been pretty good. If you've been seeing, Briggs has been good, but they're still starting Phillips, and they're still using Phillips more. Meanwhile, Juwan Briggs, 77.8 PFF grade, 14th among interior defensive linemen. I'm telling you, I want to see a little bit more of Juwan Briggs on the field. I know Phillips, I don't dislike Phillips, but I would like to see Briggs get out there a little bit more. Also, this can really help. With the secondary performing poorly, we need to be able to stop the run. Hopefully, we see a little bit more Briggs. Hopefully, we get Jermaine Johnson back, and hopefully Quinnen Williams continues to do his thing. But if they get Jermaine Johnson back, that will help. then with Will McDonald, and we might not see as much Clemens, and I think that could be interesting as well. But the key is going to be, can we stop Dak Prescott and the passing game of the Dallas Cowboys? And will that allow us to stay on schedule in the run game without the stupid turnovers, the stupid penalties, and then maybe stop the pass, okay? Having Michael Carter out won't help. Let's see what Jarvis Brownlee can do in his debut. That'll do it for what we're talking about here on this episode of Jets Latest. Let's see what some of you guys have to say. The soul of the internet, 4829, says, truth be told, the Jets are nervous right now. The potential is still off the charts, and they need to get over the hill. We are so close. Stay the course. Let's go, Jets. Sonic boom is what the soul of the internet says. I agree. I do think we're close, and that's why the turnovers and the penalties really do make a difference. Aaron Glenn has said since day one, these are the kinds of games we are going to be in. And as you can see, it takes time to build how to win. Some of these other contenders win these kinds of games all the time. I'm looking at Philly this year. I'm looking at Kansas City last year. And then to Sauce's point, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy when it comes to the refs and the treatment and all of that. Let's see. Todd MG3RU says, you know how you could fix the stupid mistakes? Fine them for like $5,000 a stupid penalty, and they'll shape up fast. I don't know if they're going to do something like that internally. We will certainly never hear about it, but I ain't mad at you. We have to find something to get the discipline where it needs to be in week 5 and beyond. Turnovers and penalties are crushing us. At Turney Sturgis, big-time regular contributor here on Jets Latest. Shout out to you, JETS, Jets. Goes. And I think this is getting ahead of ourselves because we're going to win some games. But goes, if we get a top pick, I don't believe we take a quarterback. I believe this team is ready for not ready for one. Honestly, just keep building Justin and your team for the future. Maybe take a developmental quarterback in round 4. I'm not getting that far ahead of myself. Okay, I know we're 0-4. We're one of only 3 teams that are winless. So that means like a top 3 pick. I don't think that's going to be the case. We're going to win some games this year. We really are if we clean this mess up. But I do agree that I don't think quarterback is the need. I don't think this is on Justin Fields. I think this is stupid penalties, stupid turnovers. I think we need to see more development. I'm not ready to pull the plug on Justin Fields. I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. They're going to do the same thing they always do. They're going to draft the best offensive lineman on the board when they can, especially if Aaron Glenn wants to reinforce this identity. Think about it. The last couple of years, right? Membu, first top pick. Fashanu, top pick. AVT, top pick. Even a guy like Tipman was a second-round pick. They invest in the offensive line, and quite frankly, if they want this identity to be a top run game, to be able to enforce their will, to be able to protect a quarterback with a dual threat like Justin Fields, wherever they are, and I don't think they're going to be a top 5 pick because I think they're going to win games, okay? But they're going to pick, even if it's like 14 overall, even if it's 6 overall, even if it's 21 overall, they're going to pick the top offensive lineman on the board as they continue to try to build this identity. That's what I think they are going to do. But thanks to Tony Sturgis, as always, for the comments. Thank you to everybody for the comments here on Jets Latest. Remember, watch these videos, like these videos, subscribe to the channel, and tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend. I will be here all next week, debriefing whatever we do against the Cowboys and getting us ready for going across the pond in another tough matchup against the Denver Broncos. But we will stay focused on week 5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Here are the keys. Clean up the stupid, unfocused, undisciplined stuff around the turnovers and the penalties. Continue to have faith in the run game and stay on schedule in the run game. And try to slow down Dak Prescott and one of the best passing offenses in the NFL. Hopefully Jarvis Brownlee, hopefully Michael Carter can, hopefully Sauce can lock down Pickens, and we'll see how it works. And maybe we get our first W of the year. Remember also, you got fantasy, sports betting stuff. Hit me up. I am the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on Sirius XM. You can check that out. You can always download the app and check that out as well. FTN Fantasy, a great website for all sorts of data, all sorts of rankings, content, tools to make you be a better fantasy player and a better sports bettor. All right, so let's get this W. Let's clean up the mistakes. If I am here on Monday again talking about turnover battle, again talking about penalties, it's going to become a broken record. Let's clean that up the same way Aaron Glenn has said we need to ever since he took this job on. The Jets have been the most penalized team in the league the last 2 years in the NFL. We have to start to clean it up. Hopefully we do, and we're celebrating a victory in the next episode of Jets Latest. But for now, have a great weekend, everybody. We out of here. Peace.